Today we are going to look at what Jesus meant by the end of the world will be as the days of Noah. What did Jesus mean by that? So, if we go back to Genesis before the flood, we see that the works of men were evil. And why was the works of men evil? Right before that, we see that the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they gave birth to these men of renown who brought forth destructions upon the earth. Some argue that the sons of God were biblical men that left their biblical women. Yes, they left their biblical women to go and pursue worldly women. And now these are the people that were known as were people of renown. But how do you explain in that scenario? How do you explain the giants? How do you explain when the children of Israel were going to spy into Canaan and they saw that these people in Canaan were giants compared to them? They refer to themselves as locusts compared to these people. So how do you explain these giants, these men that were almost 30 feet tall? How do you explain them in the sense of biblical men living and joining with the worldly women, and now they are giving birth to 30 feet tall children? That does not make sense. But it makes sense when these sons of God were angels that left their first estate, and then they took to themselves daughters of men, and now that DNA mixing was able to bring forth these men of great renown, these giants upon the face of the earth. Skeletons have been discovered worldwide, and the evidence shows that they died during a flood. They were quickly buried in the ground. So here we see that in Genesis that the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they brought forth children who are men of renown, great men, big men, giants upon the earth. So where else do we read this phrase, son of God, so that we can link it to the angels? We go to the book of Job. And now here, we have figured out that Job at this time, he lives in a land of Uz, and he is a man who fears God, and he shuns evil, and he has 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he has possessions of thousands of sheep, thousands of camels, thousands of oxen. And now there is a meeting in heaven. This is Job 1 verse 6. We read of this meeting. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. We read again. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. If these sons of God were men, wasn't it in order for Job to show up to this meeting? Because if you say these sons of God were men, Job, being the most righteous at the time in the world, he was of good report to present himself. But here we see it is not men who are gathering, it is angels. And we see that also the devil, also Satan, the one who was known as Lucifer, he shows up to this meeting. And now we figure out that this sons of God refers to angels. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" And Satan said, "From going to and fro on the surface of the earth, walking back and forth on it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him, and the earth a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil?" Again, we see if these sons of God were men, yes, Job will be in this meeting. But these sons of God were not men, they were angels. And Lucifer, being a fallen angel, he was in right to attend this meeting. And now we see in this meeting is being asked, what has he been doing? What has he been doing? And he says that he has been walking on the surface of the earth, to and fro on it. As we are told that the adversary is like a prowling lion, looking for whom to devour. So when he asks if he has considered Job, what does he say? Have you not made an edge of protection around him, around his household, around his possessions? Have you not made an edge of protection? So we see that the adversary, being the prowling lion seeking whom to devour, he has not been able to devour Job, because our Heavenly Father has placed what? An edge of protection around Job. So back on the sons of God, coming into the daughters of men, giving birth to men of renown, and going back to Jesus saying that the end of the world will be like the days of Noah. So during the end times, will we see the return of the men of renown, or are these men of renown already among us?